Meanwhile, House Democrats have released text of the resolution detailing their next steps in the impeachment inquiry. The 8-page resolution, which the House is expected to vote on tomorrow, lays out the Democrats' general format for the impeachment investigation. It calls for public hearings and would also allow the president or his counsel to participate in proceedings held by the House Judiciary Committee. The Judiciary Committee will ultimately decide whether to report articles of impeachment to the full House. Democrats say if the president refuses to cooperate unlawfully with congressional requests, the chair will have the discretion to impose appropriate remedies, which include denying specific requests by the president or his counsel. So, Heidi, what should we make of this? Republicans have a lot of process complaints. They say they're being shut out. Any parallels here to Clinton?
This is really the next phase, Mika. They're trying to set out some rules for the public phase of this testimony. And I did a lot of interviews last night in which I was told that this is exactly the same rules that were set in place for Clinton and Nixon in terms of allowing the president's counsel to participate once this process actually gets to the Judiciary Committee. So think about it this way. Think about the Clinton impeachment when you had Ken Starr presenting a report to Judiciary. In this case, we could have multiple Ken Starrs. Ken Starr could be Adam Schiff, who takes his report and then presents that to Judiciary, where the president's counsel there has every right as well to bring in information, to question the witness in that case. But that will not happen in the public phase in terms of the Intel Committee. And there is the rub in terms of why the Republicans are angry, because they said that their counsel, the president's counsel, should also be able to question in that phase. But Democrats counter and say, hey, look, this is not our constitutional authority. Our authority is to bring charges, is to issue a report. The Senate is where that trial takes place. And so the problem here, Mika and Joe, really is not that the rules are any different than they were under Clinton and Nixon. It's that the culture is different. Under Nixon, the president, the Republicans and Democrats on the committees worked collaboratively in order to issue subpoenas. In the case of Clinton, you really didn't see Clinton's attorneys wanting to subpoena anybody. There wasn't an attempt to really do that, at least in the initial phases. So the culture here is really just so different. But the sources that I spoke with said it's very similar in terms of the rules. And secondly, Mika and Joe, I do have some new news to report about how House Democrats are thinking about framing these articles of impeachment, how they think what has transpired here and the evidence that's already come out really constitutes evidence of high crimes and misdemeanors. They tell me that the founders thought very specifically about impeachment in terms of the ABCs of impeachment. A is for abuse of power. In this case, we saw the president abusing his power to benefit himself personally to try and get that dirt on Joe Biden. B is for betrayal, betrayal of the country in terms of its national security interests, in compromising a critical ally in Ukraine in terms of allowing Russia to push into Ukraine and compromising Ukraine's ability to push back on that. And then C is for corruption, for corrupting potentially our election process by encouraging a foreign power to intervene in our elections.
Wow. Heidi, thank you. And still ahead on Morning Joe, President Trump has tried all sorts of things to pull the nation's attention away from impeachment. It has not worked. But shutting down the government might. Why Chuck Schumer is sounding that alarm. You're watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.